So far in today's show, we've been covering the selection and professional installation of a new vinyl window. We looked at some of the components you should be asking about, and we saw how an old window was removed and the rough opening inspected. Now let's once again meet up with our contractor, Andy Lindus from Lindus Construction, to finish the installation of a new vinyl window. Well, Jim and Rick are hard at work installing these windows. They're looking great. They're doing an awesome job as usual. We covered the removal of the old window. Now let's walk through the professional installation process.
Yeah, once we inspect that opening and find it to be in actual good shape, we don't have to replace any of the rotten wood, none of the framing, none of the sheeting. All of that has survived the last 20 years from any type of water infiltration. Then we can really get started prepping the opening to making sure whatever window we decide to put in is going to last a lifetime. We're going to start cutting back the sheetrock to make sure that both walls on the outside and the inside are all even with the actual frame. So when we install our new windows with the shims, we have the exact same opening all the way around to put our foam in.
Is that because this is new construction and you find that they run the drywall over top of that, you know, the reveal, I would call it, all around that dead air space, so to speak?
Yeah, everything was butted right up tight to the actual windows.
So you guys actually have to score it and carefully take it off.
Cut off. You're taking off maybe a ½ inch of sheetrock entirely around, maybe a little bit more. Without doing it, there's no way to insulate that window properly.
And so once they've scored that, they've removed it, you said that they put down some type of tape on there?
They do. It's our flex tape. Now what this tape does, it actually goes up as high as we think water is going to go, actually comes out to the outside of the home, goes over the top of whatever house wrap's on the house right now. Our job to make sure if water gets behind the window any one place, it's automatically coming to the outside. Never have to worry about water getting to any bare wood, which is important. If it sits on the bare wood, that's where you get rotten issues.
You know, I think down 40 years from now, somebody decides to replace the window, they're going to be happy that you guys did that, because I bet the chances are slim to none that you're ever going to find rotten there.
It's little things like that. Why? Because we do every step you possibly can to make sure nothing rots ever.
That makes total sense to me. I love the peace of mind that comes with it. So now you have everything prepped. It's time to install the window itself?
Absolutely. So we're going to go in, we're actually going to set the window, we're going to shim the window, we're going to have two guys working, one on the outside, one on the inside. They're going to be in constant communication with each other. Once they think they have everything square, plumb, that's when they're going to start to fasten the window. Starting from the bottom, they're going to work their way up with the nail fin. Fasten each bottom, work their way up to the top. Once that's done, they're going to shim the actual sides of the windows and put in screws from the frame of the window to the actual frame of the house. So not only is it secured from the outside, not to be able to tip forward, it's secured all the way around the inside too, to make sure everything stays square. Also gives us a true area all the way around the window to run our foam insulation. Once the foam insulation is installed, we're going to go around the outside. That flex tape you see there, again, sealing everything off, making sure it's completely watertight, making sure the bottom of the window has a place for water to go like it's supposed to.
You know, one interesting attention to detail aspect that I noticed your guys doing is there's a lot of slop in there. There might be an inch, inch and a half on each side, so they can move that window. And I'm thinking to myself, why are they so meticulous at that? Who cares? It's because they have to put up the old siding. They have to put it back in place, and they have to be conscientious enough to make sure it's perfectly there so that they're not trying to match siding.
Yes, there's maybe a half an inch of play you can have one way or the other, but you can't take that for granted. You got to really think this process through to make sure you're not looking at that window, all the siding's up, and you see a big chunk of green because you're short someplace.
Sure. Well, again, you guys are second to none. Homeowners in the greater Minneapolis area can rest assured they're getting a quality job when any of your crews, not only Jim and Rick, but any of the crews out there.
I mean, this is an example of exactly what we do on a daily basis. Why are we here? Because last year we did the neighbor's house. Why are we going to be over there next week? Because this week we did this house. I mean, you saw how many people come and talk to us. They see the work we do. They like what we do. And when they see it last over year, we're the guys are calling. So this house of one is going to be 4 different jobs for me.
Well, as usual, I love learning more about the process. And again, you can have the best window in the world, but if you don't have professional installation like we're seeing here, you're not going to get the results you want. Thanks for taking us through the process.
My pleasure.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Today's Home Remodeler television network.